Well, I'm thinking that for this episode, I'm going to basically do a little bit of encounters again, if I can get to Detroit. But I'm also going to do something else on the way as well. Perhaps. And apparently I'm struggling. Is that because of this vehicle here? I wonder if it's because of the vehicle. It might be because I've got a sled in tow, but whatever. Apparently I've got struggling here. I guess it's because I'm using a sled. I didn't realize the sled would slow you down so much, but whatever. Let's go in here. We'll do a little bit of scavenging of this, this... Ooh, lots of stuff in here. Cool, I found some tarp. And, didn't I have more tarp than this? Maybe. Whatever. So, for this episode, more or less, the plan is going to be fairly simple. I'm going to try and, go back to Detroit again. But, more importantly, when I get to, Detroit... I'm basically going to, do an event there. Plus, I'll make some money on the way. If possible. I like making money. Go put that in there for now. I'm gonna try something. Let's ditch this sled for a moment. And there's stuff on this sled which is, good. I'm wondering if this will give me a few extra movement points to basically do stuff here. So I'll scavenge here. Scavenge the storage shed. To be honest, I think you should have a bit of extra moves when you're basically only scavenging in a hex. This should make it so the sled takes away your movement on the world map perhaps, but it doesn't actually take away from scavenging and stuff. And I found a crowbar. Nope, don't care about it. Let's put that right there. And I'll go over here. A scope of a strap, there's that there, but whatever. I guess I ran out of moves, that's why I don't have anything here. So, something to know here is I can actually ditch the vehicle every single time to get more moves for next turn. Which is kind of stupid, but whatever, it's stuff I can do. Let's scavenge this for a little bit. There's another scope for selling. Look, I can stick stuff in there if I want. Let's scavenge the forest for a little bit of stuff. Okay, there's some poison berries, water, death caps, edible mushrooms. Edible berries. More edible berries. There we go. Ate a little bit of stuff to basically keep me going. And another scope to basically put in here. There's gonna be a lot of money in here when I'm done, more or less. Nah, I won't keep that. Won't worry about that. Alright, here's a laptop. Let's put this into there. Apparently these boots are starting to wear out a little bit, but whatever. They'll last for a while. And we'll search this. A small battery sparker. So that's like, the thing that you can use to basically light fires if you need to. It's not worth a whole lot of money, but you can use it if you have, like, charges in it, which it doesn't right now, so won't worry about it. Let's put that right there. That's going to basically, make me struggle a whole lot more. So I'm carrying a heavy load, and the movement rate is much slower. Peril also fatigues much faster, but whatever. Let's scavenge right here. Botany, go. Found nothing. Go here. And we'll ditch the vehicle again. There's a feral dog. Okay, there's a water tester. Put that in there. It's gonna take me a while to get to Detroit at this rate, but whatever. I'm finding lots and lots of stuff in these stuff, so... there's a pink pill. I have no idea what it's all about. It's water purification tablets, I think, so... let's put that in there. Maybe I can use that to purify some water, perhaps, at some point, so... you can see, like, what that's all about. Put this in here for a little bit of selling. So much loot to find. Hey, that's a good boot. Some better condition than my one, so let's put that right there. And apparently I've got no room in there for putting stuff in, so... let's just restart this a little bit. Restart again. Cool, a multi-tool. That's worth selling, perhaps. I'm liking all the stuff I'm finding, because I can actually use all this stuff for, like, a little bit of, like, extra cash. Put those in here. And I'll end the turn again. Apparently it's evening because I've been scavenging so much, but whatever. Let's scavenge this for a little bit. There's some water, some edible mushrooms. Scavenge just a little bit. And there's a medium battery sparker, so yeah, there's like bigger and battery sparkers if you get bigger and badder batteries for it. And nothing of that really is, gonna be too useful, so let's put this here. Massive amount of stuff I basically have for, like, selling. I probably don't need to use anything in here, I guess, so... thinking about, I should probably take stuff like the TNT and put it in here. Because I might have to sell the TNT. And the quality torches I could probably stick up here. My regular inventory. Reshuffle that a little bit. Take this off yet again. I don't know why I made it so that, carrying like a sled would basically slow you down like this, but that's basically an expensive sled, as you can see. It's got $1,000 worth of value in it, so I want to get this home for sure. One. That guy might be dangerous, but whatever. Let's go here. 2 open fields of scavenge. Edible mushrooms. Berries. More berries. Yep, more berries. It's worth knowing, by the way, if you actually have this many berries in life, it'd probably not be very good for you. And someone's phoning me, so I'm just going to check who that is, and we'll get right back to this. Alright, well, phone call's done. Gonna take this off again. Now I gotta be very careful of those guys up there. They might want to attack me at some point. I don't know if they're like, you know, looters or if they are strangers or if they're, well, they are strangers, but I don't know if they're looters or if they're bad mutters or what they are. They could be dangerous guys, don't know. Kinda care. Okay, let's go down here. I'll scavenge a little bit. There's a feral dog in this direction, apparently. Let's put that there. Oh, look at that! The feral dog decided to come after me. All right, so here's something I know about this like feral dog. He's basically attacking me here, and it probably makes sense for me to attack him. I wish I had my things over here, but whatever. It's annoying when you don't have your inventory popping up every so often. But whatever, we're just going to wait. There's my inventory. What I'm going to do with this guy, I'm just going to sling a bunch of stones at his face. Because this is a dog. Not too dangerous or anything. So I'll let him come to me. And apparently it fell down, so... Stupid dog. Get over here. Come closer. Closer. Apparently it's running and charging. It doesn't know what it's going to do with me, apparently. Alright, it's running for me. So let's just charge after it. And apparently it just tried to dodge out of the way for a moment. Okay. Now it's advancing at me. It's trying to run away, but it doesn't know if it can, I guess. Alright, I get a ranged attack on him, so let's do that. Boom! Alright, so I tried to attack, but I missed. It apparently tripped, so it went on the ground. Boom! Alright, I hit him in the upper right arm with a slung stone, so that's going to hurt him quite a bit. We'll go into my inventory yet again. We'll, let's see here. Let's hit him with pebbles. I'll pebble him to death. So charge him. Charge again. Blast away. Pow, pow, pow. Alright, so here's what we did when we battered this guy. So he's taking cover, but he got battered into the right arm, the upper right arm, the right leg, and he's in severe pain and having trouble concentrating because, you know, I basically hurt him a little bit there. And if I'm lucky, I could probably take him out with another volley, so boom! And apparently I missed on him. He's running again, but whatever. I missed again. One more try. Alright, there we go. I managed to smash him with, like, you know, a bunch of more pebbles, and he took him out. So, here's a dog. But dogs are basically great for, like, you know, carving up, because they basically got, you know... What can I say about them? Dogs have, like, you know, no... They have a little bit of meat, and you get fur. They're great for killing. So let's carve up this bastard. Yeah, we'll use a meat cleaver. Do that. I'm gonna put the fur inside my vehicle if possible. Yeah, I can start up to 5 of these. And let's just start sticking in all the meat in here, maybe. You know what? Maybe I want to make a fire here. Let's make a fire. Put that there. Put this here. Put trapping. Okay, we'll put that there. We're gonna cook all this meat into, like, you know, tasty morsels for later, or for selling. I like selling meat if possible, so... yeah, we can roast all this stuff into lovely stuff. Boom, 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 boom. All this stuff will have a little bit of value, though this will have the most value here, the medium chunk of meat. Alright, this is 8 spaces, and I want to take it along, so... put that stuff there, I'll put this right here. Put the plastic bag in there for now, and put all this stuff in here. I am literally full on capacity, more or less, at this point. I might just eat this little morsel of meat right here. We'll do that. You know, I'm thinking about ditching these quality torches. I was going to possibly use them for, like, you know, traversing the landscape, but it might make more sense for me just to ditch them instead. They're more or less taking up room in my inventory, and... well, what I actually could do is just, like, break them down. Then I can do this. And then instead I can just keep moving on. And apparently I'm overloaded. So at some point, apparently you actually get to the point where you can't move your cart anymore. I've actually made it to the point where this is so heavy I can't move it. Let's see here. Let's stick to anything that's, like, you know, not helping me right now. You know, it's probably because I'm weary that I'm unable to move. I'm basically so tired I can't move anymore. So maybe I'll just make my lean-to right here. And just go to sleep for a night. Put that here. Put the can in here. Put the twigs. Where's the twigs? Twigs. I guess I don't have any small string on me, so I have to make some small string. Make a noise trap. So that stuff is made. I'll put the stuff back in here for now. Alright, I'm in a campsite now with all this lovely stuff, so... we're just gonna go to sleep here, I guess, because I'm tired for a night. We'll put all that in there. And off we go. Alright, I woke up. The fire went out. I basically gotta go in here and deconstruct this stuff. I don't have any turns of craft, so... put that there, I guess. Apparently if I want to, I can scavenge this open field. Apparently I was able to scavenge in the dark. That's interesting. Let's just eat these mushrooms I have found. Get all that stuff. You know, I'm thinking at this point it might make sense for me to, like, you know, think about ditching anything that's making like me really, like, you know, heavy. But I don't know what to ditch really for that to work. Anything of low cost in here I might get rid of, like, say, these cargo pants. I'll keep the fur, because there's actually a reason I'm keeping the fur. But, yeah. So, note to self, sleds actually slow you down quite a bit. I didn't realize they slowed you down like this. I thought, you know, they'd be like sort of like the traverses, you just take them across the land. But I guess you need snow for sleds to work really well, and it does snow eventually in this game, but it's going to be a while till it snows. There's really no point in me taking this off or on or off or anything. We'll just keep it in there for now. Let's dismantle this stuff. Put this stuff back in here. Okay, I gotta turn that, you know, medium string or small string into medium string. I forgot the medium bag, or the sleeping bag. I'm constantly forgetting about my sleeping bag. Alright, so I'm carrying too much weight and I can't move. So apparently I've got, like, you know, 1.36 kilograms overweight. That's what's basically slowing me down. Drinking water might be a good idea here, so we'll ditch that. We'll ditch the pants maybe in here. That's apparently too heavy for me to carry right now, so put that stuff right there. Alright, that's TNT. I want to take that along, so stuff of low value is basically getting jettisoned at this point. I like my gummy bears, but what if I should jettison them? Don't need to just yet, I guess, but we're gonna have to think about it maybe in the future. There's a little bit of, like, you know, shifting around the stuff in here. I'll be able to move around, though. I think it, wow, I'm literally, like, at the point where if I carry a little bit more weight, I'll be overweight here. Interesting. Well, that's good to know. You can't overweight yourself. I don't usually use, like, characters that don't have the strong traits, so that's probably why it's, like, more of an issue here, because I, like, you know, have, like, you know, less strength than usual on this character than I usually do. There's a poison berries there. Let's ditch the thing here for an extra turn. I'm going to do a little scavenging of this forest. Structure forest. Excellent. Mushrooms I can eat. Eat these berries. Eat all those berries. There are dogs all over the place. So I'm getting a heavy load and this moon rate is much slower. But whatever. How far do I have to go? It's actually probably a big distance. Yeah, I basically got only like, a few squares away from the giant's crowd facility, as you can see. I'm also almost wishing it was snow so I can like go a little bit more. Okay, let's ditch this for a turn. This feels like a real abuse of the system, like, how I'm basically able to move like this. So if this would be like something that the developer could do, you can make it so if you use like this, you're taking 2 moves instead of like, 1 on a map. Developer, if you're listening, that's what you should do. Hand shots first. Let's keep going. You know what? We're not going to scavenge on the way as much. Because I don't really need to at the moment. I've got food in my inventory and I've got, water bottle to drink, so... I'm not hurrying for, like, anything. I might want to eat some of this stuff at some point, because it is going to degrade. There's a guy with some sort of gun. Whoops, I forgot to, jettison my vehicle. Okay, that's jettisoned. Isn't that such a fun thing to do? Alright, I'm getting to the point where I'm getting well rested, so I'm actually losing, I guess, turns. I'm carrying too much weight, so I'm basically got too much in here. Let's eat this. There we go. That should help me out a little bit with like movement. There's the DMC. So I'm getting closer to like the Detroit, mega city center territory. I bet if like snow is like on the ground and there is like snow in this game, it would probably make it easier for me to move around. But whatever. I'm tired, so getting tired from moving all this stuff around. So boom, 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 boom. Pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down. It is really abusive playing a game like this, but whatever, it is working. It's actually working quite well. I wonder if I'm close enough to the light that, you know, stuff gets decreased as I get closer. Oh, something died there. Human meat, so someone died here. Alright, well, sleepy times. I'm in the Detroit Mega Center area, so I'm just gonna put this in the campsite and go to sleep. Someone approaches. It's probably a DMC guard. Alright, well, go to the campsite, pick this up. Someone dropped their flip-flop. Interesting. Alright, it's nighttime, so I can't really see what I'm doing, but we're just gonna go sleep, you know, and turn. Whoops. Drink that a little bit. Slow and steady. Okay, there it is, over there. So, slow and steady. Go here. Scavenge this hex maybe for a little bit of, like, you know, botany and stuff. Alright, this stuff's gonna spoil soon, which is gonna make, you know, it's losing its value as it goes on. It doesn't, like, last forever like meat, so. It's funny. It's like meat's usually very, you know, useful if you can sell it, but not very useful if, like, you know, you don't need it. Alright, let's drop the vehicle. I was so excited to get this, like, you know, sled, but now I'm starting to, you know, be disappointed. It actually has good durability, as you can see. It actually lasts a long time, these sleds. So, they actually last a long time. Actually, we're not going to scavenge. We're going to keep moving. Go right there. Put that there. Just keep on moving forward. Well, I'm in the town. By the way, these things can, like, give you, like, you know, power for, like, your stuff like this. So if I want to, I can put this all in here to power this up. Power up! Huh. Sure, look at that. There's another unlicensed power tap. I can empty it out, put the power inside the doll. That's how I did that. Alright, let's go to the junk market, and it's time to sell a whole lot of stuff. So, I'm basically going to sell this meat. It's not going to give me a whole lot of money now, but, you know, whatever. Actually, let's just eat the meat. We'll get rid of all that meat. I'm actually going to put, like, you know, stuff in a sack for the moment that I'm going to keep. I'm going to keep this, like, you know, war club in a sack. The sack's useful because I could use it for, like, carrying stuff. Like this thing. Put that in there. All this stuff in here is going to get sold, I think. I don't need any of it, I don't think, so... We're going to take this sled of, like, you know, lots and lots of money. You had a good run with me, Sled, but... You know... It's not actually worth a whole lot of money to Plastic Sled, but whatever. Put it there. There's apparently a fair money bag there, it's cool. There's apparently some shotgun ammo in here. Yeah, you can get shotguns in this game if you want them. There's some SP rifle rounds. We'll buy those. There's some lockpicks in here. I'm not sure I really need lockpicks at this point because I'm not going to be doing a whole lot of looting, but that's something to note, just lockpicks. Let's sell this first aid kit because, you know, it's worth a little bit of money. There's a pill organizer, don't really care about those. Let's take these clean rags. Lots and lots of stuff in here, apparently. There's some pistol rounds in here. What am I keeping and what am I ditching is the thing I'm thinking about right now. What I'm likely going to do... We'll put that stuff like this. Let's get that stuff for now. I think I'm actually going to ditch these plastic bags. They're not really that useful to me, I think, right now, so... Just ditch them. Famous Feathers Full of Logs UVD case. Interesting. Alright, well. Let's, basically do what I was planning to do for this episode. So, something I note is that there's basically an event. Military microcell, cool. There's basically an event inside the Detroit Mega Center you can actually do. So, let's see if I can talk to Hatter. We've already done all this stuff. Now, note by the way, if you have, like, you know, tracking and trapping, you can basically do stuff for Hatter. So, last time I basically used, I think, trapping or, you know, tracking. So if I use tracking, ask about the odd tracks on the ground. So basically, you'll notice, like, you know, there's basically these tracks on, like, the ground. And he basically tells you, though the floor here has a lot of distracting marks, there's one set of tracks that stands out from the regular foot traffic. A humanoid, dragging something, probably a mantle or a cloak, has recently obscured much of the older markings on the old floor here. A lot of your clients dressed like a Grim Reaper, you ask? Hatter stops immediately, tilting his head just enough to peer at you from under his brim. He says, leaning back in his creepy chair. Turns out maybe you are worth the extra attention you seem to be garnered. So basically, here's, like, you know, he'll tell me about the Reaper and stuff. And we'll get our stuff here if we want. Basically, you know, I can get back in if I want to. There's the Detroit Mega Center thing to, you know, get inside. I'll put it on. There's that stranger with, like, the mask of some sort over there. Alright, so here's what's going to happen right now. Basically, I'm going to go into the Detroit Mega Center and we're going to do like a little bit of, like, you know, an event. So basically, you've seen a lot of this stuff already, but there's actually a new place called the Detroit Savings Bank. And I didn't actually have this available to me because I didn't, like, look for, like, the console. When you look at the console, you can go to the Detroit Savings Bank for, like, special type of thing. So let's do that now. Detroit Savings Bank turns out to be a surprisingly tricky business to find. It has a presence for certain. Self-service terminals are near ubiquitous, winking at the passersby from countertops, ab walls, and alcoves. But there's a little more to these terminals than signage lights and a screen. There doesn't even appear to be a place to dispense cash, nor insert a card. After a bit of walking, though, you eventually find a Detroit Savings Bank microbranch with more than a screen. You're outside the Detroit Savings Bank Gate 11 microbranch. A secure, climate-controlled booth, slightly larger than a covered bus stop, sits on the sidewalks here. It has a requested self-serve terminal on the exterior, but looking through the transport walls, there appears to be an actual human teller inside. So here's something you can actually do here. Basically, just like a little event to basically get information from here. And you can look for weaknesses with tracking, you can wait for a teller to leave, you can threaten the teller, or you can basically enter the booth. Let's look for weaknesses. The microbranch isn't a fortress, but trying to anything too overt would attract a lot of attention, and likely warrant a quick visit for the police. You do, however, notice that the facility lacks a restroom. Between potty breaks and lunch, the teller is going to have to step out sometime. The trick will be doing it without looking like a creep. So basically, tracking tells you that you can wait for like the teller to leave, and they can like jump in for a moment. But here's like something I know about this like place. If you have certain skills, you can make like this very easy to encounter. And I think we'll just wait for the music to end because it's basically very loud. I do like the OST, like the original soundtrack in this game, but it does get quite loud at times. Like right now. Actually, you know what? Before we do this, let's just go to do other stuff. Like, I'll go maybe to like the Haggerty Health Clinic. I might buy some stuff here. So I could get like, you know, the eye surgery here if I want to. This basically gives you the eagle eye trait, by the way, if you get your eye surgery, so I might want to do that just for now, just to show it off. Patients will be screened by an eligibility and laser surgery correction or implanted collimator lens. If eligible, the patient myopia will be corrected and better than normal vision will be achieved. So order the eye surgery. After screening you for existing factors in eligibility, your vision is assessed by computer, and you're guided to an operating room. The procedure is quick and done under local anesthesia. Within an hour, you're back on your feet. You're told that you may experience some dryness in your eyes or mild pain, but the healing period is only a remarkable 1 or 2 days. Finished, make your way to a tent and retrieve your belongings. So that basically takes like $1,000 to basically get you eye surgery. And it basically helps you out a little bit. Alright, there's some stuff here if I want, but we'll leave here now because, you know, it's basically getting to the point where it's nice and quiet. And you know what, before I do anything else, I should go here to buy anything I want. For example, I might want to go to the C-store. Something I may want to do here, I got a little bit of money, right, so I might just want to buy a little bit of water perhaps, or do other stuff in here. I want to buy some water is the thing. I could buy some water. I probably should buy some water perhaps, just to save some time. We'll buy one water, and I'll buy another water down here. Right, I can't buy anything here, so we'll have like these 3 bottles left over for other stuff. You know, if I want to get a creamy crumb soup can, if I want to, for like, you know, a little bit of soup. But whatever. Alright, well, let's leave the concrete forest apartments. So at the basically the Detroit Savings Bank, you have like this like little like event thing. I've never actually done this successfully, but if you complete this successfully, you can go up to the concrete apartments and like get another like event counter after it. So basically, here's what you can do: you can like enter the booth, basically get some information, and if you have like your medical bracelet, it's possible to get it like for free. But you pull the transparent door open and step through, Inside, you're greeted with a bright colored light and dry, tepid air. The teller is presently looking, as a presently looking young woman with straight brown hair looks up from her terminal warmly. "Hello," she says. "Is there anything with which I can assist you today?" So basically, you can do a bunch of stuff in here. You can pretend to be a mentally retired patient with a lot of your gear. And that's actually something you want to do for this, by the way. I could ask about the Jarvis facility, but we're just going to pretend to be a mental patient. So, pretend to be a mentally retired patient, because why not? Striking your best, "I don't know what's going on" expression, you feign delight upon meeting the teller's gaze. Ambling towards her, you fish out something ridiculous and hold it forward to her, like, "Ta-da! Oh ho ho! What have we here?" she says, turning it over slowly in mock awe. "Wow, this is impressive. We should deposit this right away." Reaching for a deposit slip, she asks, "And to which account should we deposit this?" So you can say, give the account number, or you can say, "I don't know." But we're going to give the account number. Using your offhand, you scrawl the account number in childlike handwriting. An idea seems to occur to her, and she starts typing in to her console. A few moments later, she turns to you. "Do you know a Kale? Are you looking for Kale McAllen?" She starts writing it on a notepad. So basically, this is the information you want. You fearfully sneak a peek. McAllen, Kale. Concrete Forest Apartments. Number 3935, Tower 48. 23140, Halstead Road, Detroit, D110901. Then she picks up her mobile and starts making a phone call. Already having what you came for, he begins shuffling back toward the door. "Oh wait, Mr. Kindred," she calls after you. "Yes, sorry, may I have a number for Kale McAllen?" Once outside, you duck out of sight and put a block or two between you and the booth. Never know if someone might actually come looking. So it's possible to get this information with like skills, like you sneak in, hack the computer, or you can basically find a password to do stuff. But there's basically some information you can get basically doing that. And now I want to go to the Concrete Forest Apartments. So now I have an option to go to Tower 48. Judging by the signs, Tower 48 is a few rows south of here. You strike off in that direction, weaving your way through the complex network of buildings, people, and detritus. Deep in the center of the block, you find number 48. The thing is easily 40 stories high, and like all towers here, has an X-shaped cross-section. Also, like all the other towers, it's a secure entryway. Some sort of card lock, likely to keep troublemakers like you out. And judging by the dents and marks all over the frame and glass, it's done its job handily over the years. So if you want to, you can try to use the intercom. You can wait for someone to use the door. You can jam the main door. You can basically look for another way in, or you can just leave the concrete apartments here. So basically, this will like leave you to basically talk to this guy if you want. So let's use the intercom. In a move beyond all reckoning, you forgo fancy security hacks, brute force, and all other illegal entry attempts, and decide to just use the doorbell. There's a list of names and room numbers on the wall, but you doubt anyone's updated in years. Some entries are blank, blocked out, or have disparaging graffiti next to them. No matter though, you punch in an apartment number you learned from the bank and wait as the speaker emits a secretly called tone. A click interrupts the tone and there's a pause. Hello? Not much to go on. Sounds like a kid answering a door while his parents are out. Is this Kale McAllen? Another pause. Yeah? His tone is getting a bit more confident. Well, this is it. This is him. You've tracked clues from across the state to end up here. Does he have the answers to your questions? Can he tell you anything? Does he even know who you are? So this basically many ways of doing this event, but basically we can talk to this guy. Mention the bank account link, or you can mention about your identity. So let's mention the bank account link. I think we have a bank account in common. That elicits a snicker. Yeah, that figures. His tone is more cynical now, more driven. Thank you, Mr. Kindred. Something's clicked inside him. You have no idea. No, really. Thank you. He interrupts you. All these years, I had to wonder. My dad. There's a pause. God, do you have any idea? Do you have any idea how messed up things were? This isn't going well. No, it's good that you showed up. It's good because now I know you're just an asshole. He takes the time to sound out that last bit. His breath catches. Why my father, huh? Why'd you have to pick him? Why not some other loser on a deep web? Your fucking little drama, you losing it. Why are you even still alive? Why couldn't you just, fucking disappear like your asshole friend up in Grayling? Whoa, that's new. Grayling? Actually, he's suddenly driven. Actually, yeah, you know what? He's moving. It sounds like he's across the room. It's unintelligible over the city, but comes back. Exactly what you need. You hear that? You hear that? Huh, asshole? There's some beeping. Sounds like he's dialing. Another pause. Yeah, Kale McAllen? This isn't good. Police. It might be time to go here. There's a man outside my apartment building. So basically, that's like, one way you can sort of talk to that guy. The next time I go back here, if I try and go back to this place, you'll basically be greeted by lots of security. So in the midst of all this, though you hear sirens, and given that's what's passed recently, you get this thing feeling that they're looking for you specifically. Try not to attract too much attention into yourself. You change directions toward the nearest cover you can find. It dumps you near the overpass. So basically, sirens blare suddenly in the street, in a high warbling burst. Blue and red strobes light up the area as fan jets scatter moisture and debris around. A loudspeaker booms across nearby building facades. This is SkyCorp security. Step into the street and place your hands on top of your head. So there's a couple things you can do here. You can surrender, you can basically run away, or if you have other skills like say athletics, you can run away after escape. What I'm actually going to do is use this mechanical doll, and this is one of the things you can actually do with it. It's use it for this situation. So activate the mechanical doll. Well, we got this thing. It's a long shot, but maybe it'll draw the bug's attention. You locate a crude power switch, take a deep breath, and flip. And the doll goes ballistic, almost literally. Piercing wails echo through the booth. Light beams strobe from your eyes, and the arms and legs start flailing about, and you drop the thing in panic. It wobbles and lurches around the floor, painting the area in dots of light and causing people outside to backpedal in fear. Another chirp from outside is barely audible over the ruckus. Red patterns appear near the doll, and suddenly the booth's window showers as a shot from a skybike ricochets off the floor. Air rushes in through the newly formed hole in the wall, and he bursts outside, taking advantage of the commotion. The skybike is repositioning to intercept, but his turret seems fixated on that doll, under the break contract. You duck around the corner, blend with the foot traffic, and it isn't long before the bike loses you in the crowd, its main tracking system occupied. So that's basically how you can get away from that counter if you want to. You can use the strange mechanical doll to basically do it. So that's something I want to show you for this sort of event here. I think what I want to do now, we're just going to sort of head off towards, basically finishing this game, I think. So what's going to happen next in the future, I'm going to head up to Camp Grayling, which is basically a military base. There'll have to be something I'll have to get on the way, but hopefully I can manage that as I go along. For now, though, I think this will be it for this episode. Maybe. I might make some tan tea first. Yeah, let's do that. We'll make some tan tea. Hey, a Team Lift campfire is still here. Cool. Well, let's make my tan tea. So water, and the flame, and botany, and this, and the branches. There we go. Botany and all this stuff to get all this stuff here. So there's a bunch of tan tea I can put into these bottles. Let's flip these around over here. I want to try to identify where my tan tea is, basically. And we'll use this. We'll use the small twigs. We'll use this. Botany. There we go. So that's done. Alright, I feel like this is a good stopping point. More or less. I'm just gonna wander into the forest here. We'll get some twigs for the future, maybe. Let's just head up here in this direction somewhat. Ox news. News that's 100% bull. How am I looking here? Pretty good, I think. Alright, well. Basically, at this point, there is a bunch of encounters besides Camp Grayling that I could go to, but I am going to try and complete this, game, so we're going to head toward, Camp Grayling to try and finish it off and get it done. Hope you guys enjoyed the series thus far, and take care.